border in CSS. Basically, why we use this border property in CSS? So basically, if you want to specify the style, color and size of border, then we have to use this property. We can say that why we use border to specify the style, color and size of border. ये मैंने पिछले एग्जाम्पल में आपको एक बार क्लासेस में लास्ट क्लास में या लास्ट क्लास में बताया था, बॉर्डर इज 1px सॉलिड ब्लैक. मैंने ऐसा कुछ यूज किया था, बॉर्डर 1px solid black. So here is the three properties: style, color and size. Size, thickness 1px, 2px, 3px, style solid, dash shape, which type of border you want, and then color is black. हमने एक ही लाइन में किया था, बट हम इसको डिवाइड करके भी कर सकते हैं. तो लेकिन डिवाइड करना है तो हमको अलग अलग प्रॉपर्टी यूज करनी पड़ेंगी. जैसे फर्स्ट प्रॉपर्टी इज हमें डिफाइन करना है बॉर्डर का स्टाइल. डिफाइन द स्टाइल, and if you want to use multiple lines, then you can use like this: border style, border color and border width. To define the style of border, you use the property border style. To define the color of border, we will use border color, and to define the size, we will use border width. Now come to the border style. What is border? Basically, this property is used to specify the border type which you want to display on your web page. And we have some border style values which are used with the border style properties. To define the border type, we use this border style property. Okay, and we have a multiple properties. Sorry, we have multiple values for this border style. Like first value is, suppose it dotted. Basically, if you want to design your border with dotted style, then you can use this dotted border. Next is dash. If you want to style your border with a dash, then we have a dash border. Next is solid border. Next is double. If you want border like a double shape, then you can use this double. Groove. Basically, it is a 3D border, and the effect is generated according to the border color value, which kind of border color value you are using. This, it is also a 3D border, and effect is generated according to the border color value. Next is inset. It is also a 3D border, and again effect is generated according to the border color value. And next is outset. It is also one of the 3D border, and effect is generated according to the border color value. Remember that for 3D border and these three, these are 3D borders: groove, ridge, inset and outset. Effect is generated according to the border color value. And how many 3D borders are? 4 border, groove, ridge, inset and outside. But suppose if you don't want to use any border, then use none. If you don't want any style of border, then use none. And by default it is implemented. बाय डिफॉल्ट कोई बॉर्डर नहीं आता है हमारा किसी भी चीज कंटेंट के किसी भी एलिमेंट के लिए बाय डिफॉल्ट वो नन ही होता है बट समहाउ अगर किसी कहीं पे आपको कोई बॉर्डर शो हो रहा है एंड यू डोंट वांट टू डिस्प्ले द स्टाइल ऑफ बॉर्डर देन यू कैन यूज नन वैल्यू ओके नाउ आई एम जस्ट राइटिंग one example for this but before writing the example first I will tell you next one that is border width. So basically used to set the borders width. That means the thickness of width. And borders width set in pixel. It should be set in pixels. And there are some predefined values also. Some predefined values are there which you can use, which you can also use. And values are, any idea? Oh, then simply read this: thin, medium, and thick. If you want thin shaped border, then use thin. If you want thick border, use thick. And if you want to somehow in the middle of that thing, then use medium. Medium. Like this, you can use this value. Okay. And remember this thing: the border width property is not used alone. It is always used with other border properties. Like you are using border style property to set the border. Otherwise, it won't work. That means you have to use first border style. That means you are using solid border, dash border, 3D ridge border, group border. Which kind of border you are using? First define that thing, then use this. Otherwise, border width property won't work. Border width property won't work without border style. Okay, now we have held that is border color. So basically, if you want to set the color for the border, then use this property to set the color of a given border. This border color property won't use alone. It is always used with other border properties like border style property to set the border. Otherwise, it won't work. Same thing. This won't work without other property like border style. Okay. Now I'm going to write one example for this border property. Border property. I'm writing paragraph. Hello. Using this now using body and then using HTML. Now I have to define the border for this paragraph. And then another I have heading content, that is S3. Good evening. And using this text. And then I have to define border for this S3 also. Okay. Now come to the, now I have to write CSS. First, write style close. Now we have to write CSS for paragraph. We have to change the border. We can use border hyphen style. That is solid. Now I'm going to define border hyphen width. 5 px. Okay. You can also use here thin, thick or medium value, whatever the value you want to use. Suppose like for H1 I am writing thick, double, solid, double, thick border. Like this, you can use values. And if you want to provide color, then also you can write here border hyphen color, and that is red. Also write, instead of using all three properties, border style, border width, border color, simply write border IPX solid red. And write this thing also. So basically, choice is your how you want to display your content.